Have you ever had a bad hair day? For those of you that are watching this who have had thinning hair or hair loss, every day can be a bad hair day, and that really is troublesome. I'm going to teach you some things on how to do a self-evaluation on whether or not you truly are losing hair, and if you are, the level of hair loss that you have, like professionals like myself that have clinics that do hair restoration and hair replacement, that go over the three most important points. Let me just cite the 3 points at this moment so that you know what we're going to work through, and we're going to take one at a time and show you how to use your evaluation matrix to go through the process that you can get right on this page, as well as the download of joining our blog. So we're going to help you learn how to evaluate yourself in hair loss and hair thinning. Okay, now the first step of evaluating your hair loss activity is to do a hair pull. A hair pull is a process where you take 5 different areas of the head and you draw tautly on the hair and you look to what may be falling out from that pull. And I'll give you the range of where you might fall if you're finding these hairs each and every one of the falls, or 1 or 2 of the falls once you pull. So let's take it, for instance, with our model. We take right in the front and we draw out, just draw it out and draw out and draw out and draw out, and we look and we do not have any hairs in our hand, and that you'll be excited about if you find none. We come to the side and we do the same thing. Draw on it, draw on it, draw on it, draw on it, and there's no hairs in her pull. We come to her crown and we draw on it, and we draw on it, and we draw on it, but now we do have some hairs in my fingers. So we've gone 1, 2, 3. Out of those 3 so far, we have some hair fall. We come to the opposite side and we draw again on her hair, and again we have a number of hairs that are fallen. We'll come back to the front and either pick one of the temples and draw on one of the temples the same amount of tautness that we just did, and draw out, draw out, draw out. In this case, we have had 3 out of 5. If you have 1 or none, you have a normal hair loss factor there, 80 to 100 hairs a day, and that's what you want. But now if you have 3 sections or 4 sections falling, you're in an active hair loss level. If you have 5 sections that are releasing hair, it's really a time to go see your doctor, dermatologist most likely, to be able to give you a much deeper examination and an evaluation, whether it's a thyroid, it could be a number of things, your iodine levels, and many other areas that medically need to be helped, as well as coming back to a consultant that can help you with hair replacement during that time period, or dealing with the hair that you had that loss over the period of time. The second level of evaluation assessment of hair thinning and hair loss, to help you do your own personal self-evaluation, is diffusion. Diffusion is a very important element because it really shows you how far you've extended of hair loss. You need to start out with 100%. Where is your hair growing that has really 100%? Typically the nape or just over the ear, tendency has the hair loss becomes very less likely to hit that early on in the stages of hair thinning and hair loss for a woman. A woman's hair loss is very important to know the diffusion, and diffusion is once you take a look, an eyeball guesstimate of this being 100%, and you go up the line of a parted area when your hair is wet right after you get out of the shower. Take a look in the mirror and look at the difference where the hair looks like it's thinner. That means there's less hairs per square inch. That means diffusion. You travel down that line and you have to make an estimate. The estimate could be 10 to 20%. That makes you a grade 1. It can then be 30 to 50%. That means this area is 30 to 50% less than this area. And again, it's a guesstimate. But then you go to the 3rd grade, which is 60 to 80%. That's a very aggressive hair loss. And then of course, 90 to 100 is grade 4. So grade 1 is 10 to 20%. Grade 2 is 30 to 50%. Grade 3 is 60% to 80%. And grade 4 is 90% to 100% hair missing from the area that we'll study next, but the area of stage of the pattern of your hair loss compared to where there is very little or no hair loss at that point. You can have a friend or a relationship that could take a look at the back of your head and help you with this and find where really you could find where that 100% is. And as you can see on our model, that's her 100% mark right there, and that 100% shows a pretty good density in that area. But when you bring her back over to this area, you can see that she has diffusion of a lot more space, a lot more scalp showing. So if you find yourself in grade 1, 2, 3, or 4, the next step that we're going to show you will tell you the type of size of hair replacement that you're going to want to go to your professional and request. Your third evaluation assessment is based on the pattern. How far has your hair loss truly extended from its beginning? Now let me share with you, just before I show you the patterns on our model, the fact is male pattern baldness that a female could have, but very small percentage do, has a complete different pattern. The male pattern is where they begin to recede in the areas of the temples, they recede in the areas of their crown, and then everything between those points can fall out and completely be bald. But they never pass from this point down, which is called the parietal bone, so they can actually get transplantation from taking from one other area where there's healthy hair and moving it surgically and putting it in a place where there is no hair and it can grow. A female pattern, and females are not likely candidates for surgical because of miniaturization and the cause of diffusion. Miniaturization is where your hair falls out 80 to 100 hairs a day, but the next one that comes in, that it would normally come in on its normal cycle, comes in weaker and miniaturized. And this cycle continues over the years and you become thinner and thinner, never really going bald, but basically the fact is you become very, very thin, or to the point of what looks like a bald head. Women's hair loss, though, their pattern starts right behind the hairline. It's almost like the size of an egg right here, and it begins to diffuse in that area. And it's almost like a pebble in the brook, because then the next diffusion goes out further, and then it goes out further, and then it can go even further to even the entire hairline. So stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and stage 5 are the 5 stages of female pattern hair loss. It can stop at any one of those stages, especially if you're taking care of it with some type of restoration process. But by getting hair integration or other areas of hair replacement to help you stop the tension and emotion that comes from hair thinning and hair loss, and the lowering of your self-image, can also be one of the greatest treatments of taking care of the hair that you do have left on your head. I hope this has been helpful for you. Review these segments, continue to look through our booklet that we've given you as a part of our blog. Buy my book and find all of the answers of women that have gone through the solutions with us, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women that have truly found a solution and a makeover to change their lives so they can look themselves and live their life